Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the Weekly Comic Round. We've made it through this week's Fall of X books, as well as Something That's Killing the Children. Now it's going to move on to, well, it's Avengers and Spider-Man books. Kicking things off, we've got Captain America #2. So, where we left off, we got two stories going on. One back before World War II, when Steve Rogers was 16. Showing him dealing with the German-American Bund, which was a group that existed in the days before World War II. Bare minimum, trying to keep the U.S. out of World War II. In the present, Steve has bought the apartment building that he's been living in, basically meaning he's the new landlord of the place, and fixing it up, and with the help of a contractor that who had been staying in his van with his family for a while. So we pick back up with the story in the past. Cap has stumbled onto a German-American Bund rally, and during the speech given by the leader, Steve points out some facts that contradict what the guy's saying. He's accused, of course, of buying into propaganda and roughed up by some other members of the Bund. We also have the build-up for our villain, Mr. Lane. A year ago, setting up having taken over AIM, setting up a building on a private island in the Pacific, and killing the guy that the person that was in charge of procuring said island and everything on it. Back in Cap's teenage years, he's managed to get the room. It's a supply closet. The sign up next to it, though, says supply room, so it's a room. One of his neighbors, a young woman named Tiffany, is complaining about the lady's toilet acting up, and so Steve offers to do what he can to help. In the present, Steve offers the contractor that's been working with him a basically, kind of a, hey, you and your family shouldn't be living in, in a van. We've got open apartments. You're welcome to move in. Basically, they can move, him and his family can move in and pay him later. But Spider-Man shows up. Apparently, Black Cat gave him a tip that the Sinister Six is meeting in a warehouse nearby that night, and well, Spidey could use the help, though they never show up. The Sinister Six, that is. Spidey calls Black Cat. Turns out, though, that Doc Ock's cousin came in from out of town to surprise him, and Doc Ock's taking her around the town for the next few days. So they push killing Pete to another day. At the island base, 10 months previously, a programmer working there is wondering about some of the glyphs that he's entering, saying that they shouldn't work here, but they do, almost like shadow equations. The guy gets up and walks off the roof of the building. Back in the past, Steve watches a German-American Bund rally and talks some shit to the guys that roughed him up earlier. And afterwards, the leader of the Bund, meets with Barons Heinrich Zemo and Wolfgang von Strucker, basically to further, further so discontent within America, including setting up an attack on Madison Square Garden. A friend of Steve's dad brings Steve his father's medals from World War I, and Steve overhears some members of Bund harassing a couple of Jewish men in the neighborhood, and Steve goes out to deal with them. But before actually getting into a fight, a bunch of Steve's neighbors poke their heads out the windows holding buckets. Apparently the toilet's been acting up again, and so instead of trying to do a quick fix, well, it's been kept in buckets to be flushed later. Yeah, the neighbors toss buckets of shit on the Nazis. And then in Stonesville, Montana, 6 weeks ago, Mr. Lane shows up to speak with Mr. Kavanaugh, who apparently has 14 bodies buried underneath his house. Which Mr. Lane tells Kavanaugh he sees as a resume. Adding that, in the 70s and 80s, a ton of serial killers were found and arrested. However, the last 30 years, nothing. Kavanaugh attributes to cable TV. Watch all the documentaries about how serial killers got stupid, got lazy, and got caught. Sooner or later, you learn a few things. Like how to hide 14 bodies so nobody will smell or see anything. But you get a little bit of information about Lane's plan. He brings up once again Nexus events. Or Nexus points and agents of change. The philosophers of ancient Greece, Siddhartha, the age of the Buddha, the thinkers of the Renaissance and Enlightenment. Most recently, Harriet Tubman, Mahatma Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, Oscar Schindler, JFK, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Dalai Lama, Teresa of Calcutta. As Lane described, a 1,000-year parade of saps, suck-ups, and killjoys, bringing hope to the hopeless, which is the last thing that Lane needs. A few slip through their fingers but once. A few slip through their fingers. Once they figure out what's going on, they take out the rest of them. Unfortunately, by that time, they've already done what they're supposed to do. Another nexus point of hope is coming their way, big enough to make others look like nothing. But they have the technology the spellcraft needed to find the next crop of change agents and cut them down before they sprout. By combining science and magic, they'll be able to figure these things out. And, well, the basic idea is that Lane wants Kavanaugh to take out change agents as they're identified. Mystics, martyrs, messiahs, the big ones, the important ones, the dangerous ones, including the most dangerous of all, Captain America. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. It's interesting to see where else is going. I have a feeling it's mentioned also that Captain America was a change agent previously, and he looks to be another one yet again. I have the feeling that the big change agent point is related to the plot line set in Steve's teenage years. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Captain Marvel #1. New Captain Marvel book. So, Carol Danvers is leader of the Avengers, boss of space, all those fun things. So, the issue begins. Carol catches a skyscraper, gets chucked at her in New York, and meets a new villain by the name of Omen. Omen can absorb Carol's energy blasts and then drags her through a portal. Elsewhere, a young thief is breaking into an apartment. Gets a call from her mother. Breaks in, no alarms or anything, and looking around for something, looking for the negabands. She's broken into the apartment of Genus Vell. Presumably Rick Jones, but Genus shows up, crashes through the wall with Omen. Omen wants the bands too. In order to remove the bands, though, Omen cuts off Genus Vell's hands, and while distracted, the young girl takes the young thief takes the negabands off of Genus's hands, and she clangs the negabands together. Nothing really happens, but just checked out a window, does it again, and Captain Marvel is in her place, while the young girl is in the negative zone. Once again, Carol fights Omen. Yuma is the girl's name, by the way. And overloads her with power. They switch back between Yuma being on Earth and Carol being in the negative zone, and discuss things. The bands are stuck on Yuma's wrists. She can't remove them. There's no hinge to her. The two of them do have a bond, however, and Carol, they both agree that they need to figure out a way to get the bands off of Yuma. Apparently, an enchanted pipe wrench that she found in the negative zone isn't doing a damn bit of good, though. The issue ends with Omen taking Genus's body, using a feather from her wings to put him under her control. Also, it turns out that Genus has a giant gaping hole in his chest. That is where the issue ends. Strong start. Looking forward to seeing how things play out. It's interesting to see Carol dealing with the negabands, and I do have to wonder, where the hell is Rick Jones? Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Immortal Thor #3. Where we left off, Thor gave in to the exhaustion he'd been putting off for a while and succumbed to the all sleep. Basically having Loki watch over him, sort of. He sleeps for a while, wakes up, he's got a full beard, is in a strange alien world. It's beautiful, but Loki shows up and explains that Thor can't leave yet. Thanks to the rune Rito. Rune of Journeys, however, reversed, so it's an unwanted journey. Plans disrupted. The rune of Crisis. Thor can't make a portal with Mjolnir to get out. He can fly, but he doesn't know where he's at. Loki gives Thor all the clues he needs before leaving. Thor stops. Thor gets a little mad. Loki leaves, but then calms down, and thinks about things. And he turns his helmet into the head of an axe, with a blade sharp enough to shave a god's stubble. And Thor makes a point of listening to what Loki says. Kind of all the clues are there. It's built around the. But he makes a staff of the rune Rito, and Loki demands being given the throne. This basically says, "Hey, I'll get you out of here, but you have to give me the throne of Asgard." And Thor states that any Loki who says they want a throne is a liar. Thor returns to the moon, and no time seemingly passed. With Thor realizing that Loki has to trust him as an enemy, which means that if Loki is coming to him as an enemy, then it's to give him, basically to test him, so to speak. But Thor must gather some allies for dealing with Tauros. The first ally on his list is Storm. And that is where the issue ends. So, I've mentioned before I didn't read Immortal Hulk, so I can't say if there are any parallels between this and Immortal Hulk. I imagine there probably are, and at some point I do hope to read Immortal Hulk, but yeah. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 36. So, Spidey has recovered from his bout with Norman Osborn's sins, though it does kind of look like maybe Norman is backsliding. So, the issue opens 2 nights previously in Queens. Wreck-Rap shows up at a small house, wanting to look at something in the attic. However, Grave Goblin attacks him, and so today Mayor Cage is speaking with Madeline Pryor, and has brought Spider-Man along, and basically they want Cage saying, Wreck-Rap's a citizen of Limbo and is terrorizing New Yorkers. So that's kind of a problem. But Hammerhead is putting Silvermane back together. Silvermane means to build the Magia back up. And in Limbo, a creature is dug up to track down Wreck-Rap and the other escapees from Limbo. Spider-Man goes to the house from Queens, wanting to know what's going on, and apparently they still ended up in the attic. And The guy renting the house is cleaning it up, and cleaning up the mess still. But Spidey finds the wrecker up in the East Village. Apparently, Wreck-Rap's working a case and got a lead in that building. But what is Dr. Octoball shows up, and the creature that Madeline unleashed also shows up, and basically eats Dr. Octoball. The Wreck-Rap hides behind Spider-Man for help, and given the fact that Wreck-Rap's actually trying to do something good against his better judgment, Peter saves Wreck-Rap. As they escape, though, the creature, having put its face on, looks at Spider-Man and states, "I know you." As the issue ends, the creature says simply, "Parker." And that is where the issue ends. I have to wonder if this is somehow related to to Kindred from the Nick Spencer Amazing Run. But we'll find out. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we've got Hallow's Eve, The Big Night. It's a Halloween one-shot focusing on, starring Hallow's Eve. Honestly, kind of fitting. So, Jane Godby is, she can't enter the Limbo Embassy, and she's trying to figure out, still trying to figure out ways to get Ben out, but yeah. So, at ESU, some students are doing a ritual, but they kind of mess it up a little bit, so turns out that one of them bought the thumb from a demon off of another demon from Limbo. But Janine's walking through the Halloween party. There's a bright light, and an explosion starts turning people into various creatures, a man spider, a werewolf, so on and so forth. And so Janine digs through her bag and pulls out first a Captain America mask. Apparently, the Captain America mask gives the wearer enhanced strength, speed, agility, and makes you feel taller. So Janine does what she can to save people, and it kind of feels good to help people. Some zombies show up. She's overwhelmed by them and puts on a different mask. Hulk mask. Gives you the strength and durability of the Hulk and makes you much taller. She goes to, she leaps towards the light that likely caused all this, which is the dorm room. Crushes the thumb, and that actually seems to fix everything. As for the college students, they've turned into birds. Eve manages to trick him into a pillowcase and leaves him at the Limbo Embassy. Looking in the window, though, it seems that some of the Limbo demons are amusing themselves with the birds. That is where the issue ends. This was nice. To be fair, the stuff with Hallow's Eve since Dark Web, I've honestly really enjoyed. I like the idea of Janine trying to be something more. But anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.